Heidi ho, everyone, and welcome aboard. It's a brand new week of what's this? What's this show called? Trading Buddies. So glad you could be part of that on this Magic Monday. Magic why? I've got no idea. Let's see if it can be. Welcome to all of those who have joined us already. Andy, g'day. Daniel, hi. Gary, Paul P, Ram. Hi, Ram. How you doing? G'day, Raymond. Dominic Gabriel's dead. Hello, Dominic Gabriel's dad. Great to have you on board as well. How are we going to start the week? Well, let's see what the pound's up to, shall we? And we'll go from there. I think the breakout on the pound, frankly, has already occurred. That's not the pound. That's the pound. On Friday, wow, what a day it was. On Friday, up straight through the weekly pivot, bang back down to it, and it bounced like Skippy the bush kangaroo off it again. I've got a bit of a double top going on here, haven't I? And what does that actually look like? Didn't come up on my radar for a reversal or anything like that. Bit of an inside bar, actually. Yeah, directional bias. Not that easy, is it? We're very, very near that that big trade or trend line. Really, it is that trend. What's it called? Monthly trend line. But you can see the horizontal level there. That is pretty clear to me. Resistance here, support, strong support. A bit of a how's your father there. But now we've got price banging its head on that level, which is 142.15. Let's say it's 142. The interesting part is that I do have a pretty clear slingshot set up that's telling me long. Got a big double bottom sitting here as well. Are we going to range? Is that the first two bottoms? Is that the first two tops? And that's kind of where I'm at with this. So if we join the bottoms, say probably there to there, there's two tops, there's your box range. So I'm of the opinion that, this is a monthly chart, right? I'm of the opinion that we're probably going to put in a lower high. So in other words, on the smaller time frames, we'd be looking to go long at the moment, maybe to this level. That's the weekly chart. Let's bring it down a little bit closer. So I'm of the opinion that we probably need to get back up here somewhere, which would probably close up that box, wouldn't it? So high or low, guys, is what I'm looking for today on pound US dollar. It'd be nice if we came down to the pivots and gave us that high or low, and then we can look to trade it back through these highs to the monthly pivot. That's the way I want to go with pound US dollar. Okay, that wasn't on my radar, as I said earlier, but there were 4 or 5 pairs on my radar this week, and they are these. Pound Kiwi was one. In fact, I picked 2 that I thought were almost tradable. Pound Kiwi. Now we're already in Pound Kiwi, as you guys would know, and that's gone back into profit, which is pretty good. I see this as bullish. We are in, not on this chart, mind you. I'll go back to the trading chart in a minute, but this is pretty clear to me. It has been for yonks that we've come back inside that ascending channel, and my original target was up here. Of course, it's taken a lot longer than anticipated to get to there, and we're a long way from there still, I'd have to say. But now I've got a secondary, if you like, target up here. I'm still at the top of the channel. What's that like as a horizontal level? I haven't even checked that out. It's not too dusty, is it? You can see it's been resistance and support through here. Resistance, false break, bang. And if we got back up there, it's going to have to be quick, isn't it? I think by the end of the month, I looked at it. Yeah, by the end of this month, we need to be up there if that's going to play out. If not, then I'm kind of run out of resistance trade lines, haven't I? But anyway, that's still going. And I think it's yet again a tradable commodity this week. Key reversal bar there. And that would have been entered had you placed that order. Too tough for me. to scale in at this point because I don't have A, profit in the bank, and B, we are at a strong resistance level. So for those reasons, it's a no for me to jump in right now. But it's certainly one that if we broke these levels, came back and put another higher low in, that I probably would consider scaling in if I've taken first profit. We shall see. So yes to the bias. I think we're long and probably getting stronger in that regard, but no to entering the market right now. Euro dollar, I thought, was the second of the clear potential entries for us. And I'm probably going to place this order now because I see probably exactly what you guys are seeing, which is the bottom of this ascending channel. Yes, it's been false broken a few times to the high side, not yet to the bottom side. If that's to be the case, I hope it does it soon and doesn't take us into the long. But I'm going to place an order on this. And I'll give you the levels if you want to follow it. The entry will be at 1.1903. 1.1903 will be the entry. And the stop loss, I've just lost my numbers. Stop loss is going to be at 1.1779. So there, what's that, 125 pips, 124 pips of risk. So let's work out therefore a take profit level. So we've got 124-ish. We want to probably look at something in here, I would have thought. Maybe 119.80. 1.1980 is TP1. Okay. There you go. That was pretty quick for the week. I do think that's commendable, the setup that we've got here. Do I like trading against the US dollar at the moment? No. And do I see anything that could give us grief here? Look, of course, I can see that. But I also see this strong support, form of support and resistance area that I think we will revisit. We've already got a double bottom here. We've got a higher high. We've got a higher low. We failed to continue with that. But if this were now to poke through here, then we'd all be saying, see, it was another higher high. Okay, so that is euro dollar, and that goes completely along with my my key reversal bar on a weekly chart scenario. And when Ash comes in shortly, we'll do a comparison of the fundamentals and the technicals around, if not all of the pairs that I've got on my watch list, and certainly some of them, and hopefully we'll come up with the trade of the week. What did we have as the trade of the week last week? I'll have to go back and have a look at that. I'm not sure we actually took one, but anyway, I'll have a look at it in a tick. So the next three on my watch list were pound yen. Now, pound yen, and all three of these I felt were contradictory because I had a key reversal bar showing me long on pound yen, this big bar here. So that's telling me to go long, but the very next chart I look at, which is the monthly chart, is telling me very, very clearly that to go long here is not probably the right thing to do. In fact, wait for either the breakout here or wait for a lower high. Now, of course, that being a monthly chart is going to take a heck of a long time. But again, it does give me a bias. And the bias is, at this point in time, going to be for that higher low. So if we can meet this level here, 149.43, and then bounce off it, give me the higher low, maybe even a right shoulder, then I think that's probably the way to go on the bigger time frames. But to get to there, are we able to trade this short? Of course we are. All we need to do is find something that that suits us on a smaller time frame. That's the daily. Daily is giving me a very clear break and retest of that broken support trade line, and the target area is down here, as we pointed out before. So I don't think that's a potential ABC trade. I think the risk that you've got to take 228 pips for the reward, 147, isn't really worth it. And then we're expecting a rally, don't forget, to match this left shoulder. So it's a no for me at the moment. But if we got a break of resistance, so something like this, if we got a break up here and we fail to take out the highs, in other words, got a lower high based on this one and came back underneath here, then I think it's worthwhile if we get a far better entry up here and far less risk to take into the market. Second last one on my list, again, contradictory. The weekly is telling me key reversal bar short, but the bottom of the range is very, very close. I think this is really interesting, euro pound, because it's been in this range for what, 5 years or more, and it doesn't look like stopping anytime soon, certainly not to the high side, because it just keeps banging its head on it and coming off it. Well, again, we've got bottom of range, and I'm looking currently for a higher low. So I'm therefore not willing to go short at this point. When we get the higher low, if we get the higher low, I'd look to be trading that long at this point, euro pound. I don't know why. From a fundamental point of view, Ash will tell us all about that in a minute if it works, but otherwise I've got a contradiction there, as I do have on Swissy yen, and this is the last one before we do bring Ash in. You guys will recall that we had this massive key reversal bar, 4 weeks ago, followed up by a key reversal bar in the opposite direction, which didn't really get us interested, but the next week did, because it was an inside bar. And when you've got a key reversal bar and an inside bar, that's always a appetizing scenario for me to go with that direction, or the direction of the bigger bar. So I think did we place an order on this last week? I can't recall. Anyway, cancelled it. It's now gone, but we've got yet another inside bar based on this one. It means to me that the market's actually revving up to do something. The direction is difficult, however, but it's telling me that reversal bars coming off the bottom here are probably going to test, maybe not even test the high, but certainly put in a lower high at some point. So I do have that bias long at the moment, but I'm not 100% keen to trade it. And as I say, it is contradictory, because I'm seeing two different things. I can make a case either way, and for that reason, I think it's wise just to keep it aside and look for that lower high to maybe trade short a little bit later on. So that's me around the grounds. I'll update the trades that we're in very, very shortly. We're still in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trades. I think one of them is heading towards our trailing stop. The rest are in pretty damn good shape. The trailing stop, of course, will be a break-even trade. If it's hit, it won't be a loss. So all is looking well in the trading stakes. Ash looks very, very intent on the charts at the moment, so I won't bother him. I think he's probably looking to see if we've got our Magic Monday trade, which he's been coming up with for the last few weeks and knocking it out of the park. So I will just briefly go through the trades that we're in until he's ready to come into the room.
I'm sort of okay, mate. I mean, there's a trade long on the FTSE, but it's a real it's going to be a 10-point grab. If anybody wants to get into it, I'll bring you the numbers, but you are literally going to go in here 10 up, 10 down. Let me bring you the numbers. Make sure this is right. Maybe 12 and 12 actually. Yeah, it looks like we're going to sort of like take something under the weekly pivot, but it's a tricky call, I have to say. It looks pretty tepid. So let me see if I can bring you this. But the trade is at market, and you are basically going long with a 12-point stop and a 12-point profit. So I'm just setting my numbers up because I've got a couple in here, but just so you've got that. By all means, go through your other bits and pieces just for a minute, and I will just fix up my trades, and then I'll bring you what I'm doing and why.
All right, mate. I'll update where we're at. And this, what did I say, 6 trades? We'll start with the Aussie. Aussie US dollar. We traded this when we sold. I can't even remember where we got into this. It looks like it was up here somewhere to me. Yes, it would have been. And we've been trailing. So that's about 3 weeks, nearly 4 weeks old now, 5 weeks old. Wow. Didn't realize we've been in it so long. What to do here is the question. Well, nothing. We trailed our stop again last week, putting in a little bit more in the bank. It's now down at, what's the level? The level is, get up there, you little sod, 75.40 is where I've now got my stop loss. Could consider moving it down a little bit further, but I think we'll give the week a little bit of room. If it comes and takes out our stop loss, you know, it's certainly not the end of the world. We've done extremely well on this, but I'll give it a little bit more space, and maybe towards the end of the week, depending on what's happened down here, we might look to tighten it up just above the weekly pivot, but we're not going to gain that much more, I wouldn't think. That's Aussie dollar. Euro Swissy. Euro Swissy. We've been in, out, long, short, long on Euro Swissy, and we're making money on it. We're actually doing quite well, Euro Swissy, going in all sorts of directions. But this time we caught the short, and we traded this bar here. Our stops are now at entry, as you can see. This one is quite tempting to bank some more here. Similar to the Aussie, we are looking at, I won't say deep retracements, because I don't know that yet, to be fair. What I do know is that we've only got one lot of protection here, really, and it's the same level. It's the breakout of the previous lows, which is there, and the weekly pivot. So if we were to get above the weekly pivot, if we were to close above the weekly pivot on the daily, certainly, then I would look to close this. Not even bring my stops down. I'd just close it. But I want to give it a little bit of breathing space. And if it does hit the weekly pivot and bounce off that horizontal level, then happy days. We've given it the space that it needs. So I don't need to update Euro Swissy at this moment. Euro Yen. Euro Yen. We've been in that for a while too now. Have we not? Yes, we have. Remember, we sold that little bar there. Bloody beauty, that one. You'd like to see them every week. And we have trailed our stops down. We're still above the monthly pivot and the falling weekly pivot, which has joined the daily almost. I again feel that there's probably a little bit that we could bank here, a little bit more that we could bank by putting our stop maybe there. If you're so inclined, I wouldn't discourage you from doing that if you're in the trade. It's another 70 odd pips, so it's probably worthwhile considering. Whilst ever I'm seeing this, I'm thinking we're going to have another lower high, and it may well be at that level. So for that reason, I'm just going to leave my stops where they are above the monthly for now, and again, give it a day or so and see what works. Of course, we're in EuroCAD on the monthly basis. No need to go through that again. That's still rocketing along for us. The next one is Pound Swissy. Pound Swissy is the only one that we've got a little bit of grief on, where we are above our entry, which is short, of course. Of course, we've taken profit with that big breakout bar that we trade. What did we trade? That bar there, I think. And we've moved our stops, of course, having taken our first profit. So we can only break even at worst here. So I'm not going to do anything. I'll just leave it where it is. If it takes the stops, then, as I say, it's a break-even trade. But I still think there's hope here, given that we've had a break and retest of the bottom of that range. It does, however, to me, look as though a higher low in this vicinity would take this back up to the top of that range. So I'll be looking for that intently. And if it does produce that, I will probably enter a long order, although we've still got the short in place. But I'll keep you posted on that one. Pound Kiwi is the second last of our trades that we're in. And as I said earlier, we've now come back into profit on that. This has just been flying around up and down all over our entry. and it's a monthly trade, right? So don't expect that to unfold anytime soon. Nothing to do here. Just wait for TP1 if it comes. And the last one that we took last week is Kiwi Yen, and we've got our stops at entry on Kiwi Yen. We have nothing to do here because our stop loss is being protected by the weekly pivot and that breakout level. If it were to go back and take us out again, that would be a break-even trade at worst. I'm hopeful we'll get better than that, however, with this being the lower high that we're looking for. Price back down to here, take on the lows and even knock them out would be great. I will be looking at this one, and if we got a higher low at that red line, again, I would look to trade it long against the short that we've got in the market. And I'm fine with that. That's no drama at all. And I'll keep you posted on that one as well. So, yeah, all looking good there, mate.
I'm ready when you are.
How's yours?
I'm ready when you are. Okay, well, let's have a look at this and and see what we're aiming at and why. Yeah, John, if you click on the chat next to the person where it says 2, you should see an arrow next to the person's name, and then you can change it to everyone. I have
why, Lewis? What have you been watching? The football or something?
Why don't I get Lewis's message? I'm not getting anybody else's message. I'm only getting John's.
Oh, I can't see John. So
oh yeah, well John's kind of sending it to me privately.
That'd be why.
So let me see why I can't. Let me see what everyone.
Okay, so yeah.
You'll have to update me on everybody else's chat. So anyway, yeah. So the first thing, let's talk about the football because it might well mean that my judgment is well off kilt today. Not only did we lose, but I stayed up and I was drinking because I thought we were going to win. So I was celebrating.
You went off early.
I'm feeling a bit tired, and then I had a visitor last night as well with a cough. So I haven't had the best night's sleep.
Oh dear.
But let's talk about the markets, mate. And we'll talk about the football. The funny thing is, the football actually probably does have some effect on the markets today, because I think if we'd seen a win, an England win yesterday, then there's every likelihood that leisure stocks would have done really well today. You know, I think that there would have been an assumption that there would be more pints sold, there'd be more people going out for dinner, there'd be more people just doing celebratory things, and that would have pushed certain stocks up for a few months, and with expected earnings higher, I think we probably could have seen a Euro final boost. Interesting to see what happens with the Italian indice today, whether that actually gets a bit of a boost, because I suspect it might. You know. So anyway, the FTSE's didn't win, so the FTSE's now in this kind of is languishing a little bit, but it is in a bit of a range, and I prefer the upside of where we're at than the downside. The weekly pivot is definitely an issue, and that's the only problem is at this price here. The weekly pivot is just about far enough away to get a 1-to-1, and it would have been better if the trend line was along where the weekly pivot was, because it would have been a simple buy zone. The market doesn't look like it's breaking down. That's the only thing I can say about this market. It's not particularly positive, but the market doesn't look like it's breaking down. And given the fact that we are on a run to the upside ever since that big move down that we saw a few days ago, on Friday we saw a big move to the upside. So given the momentum is higher, I think that the probably the safest direction of travel is up rather than down. So that's why I've taken the trade long. I'm not that comfortable. I'm not too uncomfortable with it. It doesn't look great. It's not like one of those trades that you put on, you think the upside's going to be simple because we're likely to go higher than my take profit area. My problem with this one is that the take profit area may well be as high as we go for the day, which means that it could be a bit of a struggle. So the trade is long. The trade is here on the futures, but I think on your charts it will be somewhere around the 70.85 level. 70, 80, 80 between 70.85 and 70.87. Stops below the weekly pivot, which on the futures is around about 13 under, and you're aiming for around about 13 above as well. So it's around about an even money trade, if you like, which looks only okay. It doesn't look brilliant, but it looks like one of those trades that that should work out, because I don't, as I say, see why we would break out of a range to the downside. The one thing that may happen is that we might have to take profits a bit earlier if it does pop up, because as you can see, the target is based on this sloping trend line, and but by definition, if you like, the slope reduces the price every period that happens, and that continues where we haven't taken our profit area. The next area means that the take profit area is going to be lower and lower and lower and lower. So we kind of need it to bump up there within the first hour, and it looks like it may, but only may. You know, I'm not hyper keen on it. Right then, so let's have a think about the markets generally. We'll talk about the trade as well, mate, as well this week. And my personal view this week, the trade of the week for me is probably the dollar short, and I would probably go against the Swissy. I don't love anything, if I'm honest. It doesn't look quite as clear as it did last week, and I think some of that is because of earnings season, and I wonder whether it might be a case that we kind of are not necessarily gonna. We might pick the trade of the week, which, as I say, I quite like the dollar Swissy short, but we might not necessarily enter it until maybe later in the week. We got CPI data out on Tuesday. And that could just put the could put the brakes on things. Now here's our this actually is quite a nice entry point here with the FTSE as this pushes down, and I might just take another trade here actually. Let me just do this 1 second.
Keep your eyes awake, Lewis. Get those matchsticks out, mate.
I'm going to take another trade here to the upside, just to kind of aggregate the position, and I think it's okay. Let me just do this on here as well. There we go. Right, so I'm just aggregating positions here, what will happen here is if this does start to move to the upside, then all I will do is look for the take profit area a little bit more shallow, and one of the reasons I would like to do this is that I'm not sure whether we're going to get back up here. The market looks a little bit tepid. It doesn't look negative, but it looks a little bit tepid. Now, as I say, if we kind of think about what's going on with the news, I'm not sure whether you guys can see. Let me see if you can see my screen if I change it here. I think I think Zoom's actually selected what you're viewing rather than my actual screen, which is okay. If that's the case, then I will see if I can do a new share. Here we go. There we go. So you can see what we got here on Forex Factory. Hopefully.
Yep.
We can do that there. Oh, that's actually pretty good. Okay. Right, so let's have a look through the week, and I'm going to keep an eye in the corner of my eye of this trade. We got not a lot happening today. We've had some factory orders out of Japan. Looks like a little bit of growth there. I think something's going on with Christine Lagarde as well today. I'm not sure whether she's about to change her sentiments as well, and that could change things with the euro somewhat. But I think there's some sort of announcement coming out from Christine Lagarde tomorrow. I only got a flash of that information, but we got 10-year bond auction today as well. So fairly tepid day, which also, again, that's something else that pushes me to the thought that we're less likely to break down, and we're more likely to be in a range. So the way I always look at news is firstly what direction the news will send us in. And then I look at whether the news has got too much significance on the day. And if I make an assumption that it doesn't, then I assume that we're going to be range trading. If there's news that is a bit more significant, then I assume that that we could actually start getting a trend. So I'm really looking at this potentially being a rangy day. Now I could be way off the mark here, and I might be entering trades that I really shouldn't do. And it's possible that that my euro hangover could be giving me bad judgment. I'm not sure, but that's my assumption. My assumption is that we're going to be a bit rangy, and you know, my belief is that we're sort of near the bottom end of that range for the day. That's kind of quiet. So I'm kind of happy to continue to buy in just at this last point. The last trade I took will be the last point I'll be doing that. Now, for the rest of the week, then I need to make an assumption of what might move the market. And I've got CPI data coming out of the United States tomorrow. There's a few speakers as well going on. Bostic is speaking, and Fed Chair Powell on Wednesday. That might drive the market somewhere. I think this might be interesting, mate. RBNZ's statement, and the reason for that is what's been going on with the oil market. So that might be a bit of a driver. CPIs from the UK.
We do have a vested interest in that. We've got Kiwi yen short that we're in, and we've got pound Kiwi long.
Okay, all right. So very much weaker on the Kiwi. We'll talk about the cotton, the seasonals in a moment as well. Aussie data as well out on Thursday. Not a lot from the United States so far. Few bits and pieces, but not loads from the United States. I think earnings season is probably going to be the most significant aspect here. Core retail sales as well. So and University of Michigan sentiment. So there's a few things. It looks quite a quiet week today. This week, mate. So I'm not sure whether we're going to get too much in the way of upside. But
I think as you've pointed out, Aussie. Well, the Comdols, they're the ones. The commodity currencies, all three should do a bit of moving, and the CAD will be interesting to watch with their monetary policy statement. Be interested to see what they do with the oil situation.
Yes,
that may be influencing them as well. I'm not sure, because you know they probably don't want their currency too strong. You can't imagine they're going to say we're going to raise interest rates.
No, that they won't be raising interest rates. You're absolutely right. I suppose the big thing is I mean, we've always got to go back to the dollar, and the big thing is the dollar, really. You know, what's really going on with the dollar right now, and the dollar did see that move to the upside, and if we now go to the charts, mate, if we start thinking about the potential trade of the week, and we can have a look at what you've got technically on the analysis side of it, and I'll sort of talk to you about why I think the dollar Swissy might be the best trade of the week. As I say, I'm not 100% committed to that, but I think I think it's probably the best I saw, because when I looked around the grounds, what I wanted to see was something which suggested a weaker Aussie, and I wanted to see something which suggested a weaker Kiwi, and really maybe a stronger yen as well for the week. But I didn't see that. What I saw was an Aussie that actually might stabilise, and a Kiwi that could stabilise, and a yen which would float. You know, so it's one of those things that if you're in trades, you'd be managing them, but to actually implement trades, and that's some of the issue, is that if this is about timing, yes, we want to get our trade on for the week, but if this is about timing, what we're looking at with cotton seasonals is something which is probably 1 to 3 month on a 1 to 3 month time horizon, and it kind of suggests that last week we probably wanted to implement those trades. This week we now want to manage them, but we've given ourselves this challenge of trying to pick the best of the week. So if we have a look at the charts and see, just to get your view on the dollar Swissy, is there a setup? Is there anything we can look at? Price point for me would be around about that weekly pivot, but let me know what you think on that.
All right. Do you want me to share screen? I'll do that.
Yes, that'd be great. Yeah.
Okie dokie. It wasn't on my radar, I don't believe, but let's have a look and see what is. There were 5 or 6 on my radar, and I only decided that 2 of them were useful. But let's have a look at dollar Swissy. Why not? So when we look at the weekly chart, it looks very much to me, it's not like I haven't been looking at it, because we are at a strong level. There's no question there for me that we have got a strong level of both support and resistance. You could say, no, you couldn't. I can't read a head and shoulders into that no matter what. But let's have a look at the monthly and see what the monthly is telling us. Monthly is telling us that we are still in the 2015 shadow. And gee, I wish we'd get out of it. It'd be really good because it'd give us a whole lot better meaning to our charts. But I think it's pretty clear to me that the trend on this has never changed from down. Just hang on 2 secs and I'll change the color of that so we can actually see it. So, you know, if you follow these trend lines down, they're all going to say the same thing. They're all going to say that we're underneath it. And here we've got a nice confluence of that horizontal level and that trend line, if you like. We have tried to rally beyond both of those, beyond the trend line and beyond the horizontal level, which is what, 93-ish, let's say, and we failed. But interestingly, it took us since 2015, that horrendous day in 2015 of Euro Swissy decoupling that we all remember. It's taken us all of that time up till, where was it? When did we get through it? 2020. So, you know, 5 years above that level and now underneath it, now back above it, now back underneath it again and retesting it again without being able to get above it. So I think this is a super level to trade from, without question for me, because, you know, we're going to get a result here. I'm just not sure which one it is yet, to be fair, because that looks like a classic false break of the support. Yet we've stayed underneath it to this point. It's the key level. There's no question in my mind. It's the key level because of all of what I've just said. But where are we at? And I'm not 100% on it, frankly. Whilst ever we're getting that sort of price action, I think you've got to be favouring the downside. But is there an inverted head and shoulders there? It's an ugly thing if it is. And are we looking for another higher low? Maybe. And that's all I've got is maybes. I haven't got a clear for you at this very present time, except to say that whilst ever we're below that strong resistance level, and we've seen how strong it is, it's super strong. I think you've probably got to be favouring the downside until we get to this trade line again, or trend line again, whatever you want to call it. Maybe in here somewhere. So yeah, I'm on board for the short. Am I compelled? I wouldn't say that, but I think if I saw a lower high here, I would be.
Yeah, and this is some of the issue I've got now. Just with the COT data, the most interesting aspect of it, you know, coming into the week, and the fundamentals don't really match the view of going short the dollar. I think that, you know, really, if anything, there's a bit of a kind of hold your breath and wait for the dollar going on. But the COT data is kind of suggesting that. The dollar shorts have kind of increased their short positions by 157%, which is massive over the course of Tuesday to Tuesday. You know, going into last Tuesday was when it was finally kind of that those numbers would have been gathered, and it looked like a 150% boost in those shorts, which is a massive amount. As I say, it's just not a number that you tend to see unless it was a misprint, which is, I suppose, possible.
The dollar, you're saying, or short Swissy?
Yes, yeah, short on the dollar. You know, the short positions kind of increase the bears increase their short positions by 157%. So when the dollar rallied, there wasn't a great deal of confidence about the particular rally. Now, the slight issue is that the lagging aspect of the COT data. But what it did say to us was that this resistance is very, very likely to hold until we get something else that's really going to be able to drive us forward. So the price point is going to be important. And as I say, I kind of picked out around about the weekly pivot area. But it does suggest that there are a lot of sellers in this particular area. Now, it doesn't say trend is going down. It just says that resistance will hold. That's the way I read it. Now, the other sort of like thing to add on top of that is the seasonals and the seasonal the seasonality of the dollar does tend to weaken as well throughout July. The Swissy tends to strengthen. I think we saw around about a 20% rise in the longs of the Swissy, and it was the best one on the short term that I saw, and I'm kind of going on that for this particular trade that we're taking, because we're only looking for the trade of the week. We're not looking for the trade of the year or anything like that. If it turns into that, all the better. But comparing the short-term moves, it looked like Swissy was supported, and it looked like the dollar was getting the sellers to arrive. But as I say, the fundamentals don't really help. All they're basically saying is the dollar isn't really primed to go higher just yet. And we saw it last week with gold. You know, we were looking at the gold chart last week, and follow through is going to be an issue. You know, with a lot of this stuff, actually getting any follow through is going to be tough.
We've been saying that a long time now, haven't we?
We have, which is where I think your strategy of entering and getting in and out on a short term sentiment actually could be of benefit. You know, we're probably not looking at trying to take a long term position in the market unless it offers it after we've already managed to take profit. Because we had that issue, didn't we, with gold, where I think you took profit. Did you move stops to break even? And are we out of that trade now?
Yeah, we're out. Yeah,
we're out. You know, it just didn't really do anything. Now gold has come back into a level which is of interest, but makes it difficult to trade because, as I say, that the follow through just isn't there. Seeing oil come off a little bit as well today. So there's a few things out there that that suggest that there could be a bit of a turn going on in the market. And what tends to happen with these turns in the market is that the people that were on the other side of the boat will continue to try and do what they've been doing for the last 6 months. So it could take a while to kind of unhinge or dislodge the prior sentiment. But it does look like there might be a bit of a sentiment turn going on. But I guess my point is that maybe it's not at this price with the dollar. Maybe we do need to come back again one more time.
Well, I've got a bit of a double top on the dollar index on the daily. So, and now I suppose you'd call it a key reversal bar. No, you wouldn't. You might call it a bearish engulfing bar, though, followed by a high test bar, which is closed on its low. So that to me looks pretty bearish, I've got to say. A lower high in there gets me short anything or long anything against the dollar, I would have thought. But it's not there yet. And I think that's the problem I have is I can see potentials, but I can't see setups at the moment. And like you said before, I mean, we're managing 6 trades at the moment. Do I really need to be in any more? Probably not.
Yeah.
On spec, that is.
Yeah.
But then I've just added one, I've got to say. I've traded euro dollar long on the weekly.
You've traded euro dollar long on the weekly. Yeah, well, do you know what, mate? That one I would probably put into the same basket as, you know, dollar Swiss short. So I think that's okay as well.
Yeah, they're not far away from each other, are they?
No, and there's something going on with the euro. I'm gonna need to sort of like do the research when I come off air, because I did hear something that had been intimated from Christine Lagarde, and I've got a feeling that what I was hearing was something relatively bullish about the euro. So
okay. let me show you my technical scenario.
Yeah, let's have a look.
I mean, it's a buy for me right there. It's nothing else but a buy.
Yeah.
That's the monthly chart. It's coming off the bottom of that, but it's coming off the bottom of that, rather well, I would have thought. So, the trade is pretty clear. Enter here, profit before the monthly pivot, and see what happens.
Yeah.
So that's the pure, the other way that I've been looking at that for ages is, and you'll all remember, I'm sure, if you've heard me speak about it, that we do have a monthly false break set up to the short side. And I haven't dismissed that in any way, shape or form. But right now, I'm seeing a confluence area that commands my attention. The horizontal level isn't that strong, but it has got form. There's no question it's got form. And I think if you go back a little bit further, you'll see that it's got reasonable form. Back in 2010, it caused a V-shaped recovery, basically. And then, of course, we broke back through it, back to it, false break of it. And here we are again, having a wonderful time with this level. It hasn't been one of my faves, I've got to say, but at this very point in time, I've got to say it's a bounce point.
Would you look at the peak one back even from your trend line and say that kind of strengthens that particular level?
This one?
One back, so before where even before where you've just started your trend line from.
Here.
The other way.
Here.
The other way. So go left into the right.
Go left, young man. That one.
One more.
That one. Yes.
The high where you've started your trend line from.
Where's my trend? Oh, here. Oh,
yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's okay, mate. It's difficult sometimes to kind of verbalize.
It's a football hangover, I know. But all of us, we're all the
same. Yeah. So one back from there, the previous peak.
This one.
Yeah, I mean, no, that would give you the wrong angle, wouldn't it? So you couldn't draw the trend line from there.
Oh, I could. That'd be fine. We could probably even come through there. Is that the sort of thing you had in mind?
Well, yeah, I wondered whether that actually kind of, I wonder whether that would justify even more that level as a buy zone, but that doesn't, does it? It makes it more of a sell kind of area.
Yeah, it doesn't add anything.
No.
What it does do, it gives me a target.
Yeah,
that's what it does do. And that would be the line that I would use there.
Yeah.
So that does give me a target area.
I think that's okay, mate. I mean, I'm I don't think that's too dusty, really. The euro dollar, not too bad.
Yeah, look, there's many ways to look at this, and as always, you can read a lot of different things into a chart. But this could even be the wall of worry that we're looking at. Could even be, but it's not clear. The only thing that's clear to me is that ascending channel, both the trend lines that we've got in place, and the fact that we've got a confluence area here. They're the things that are clear to me. And I think that's the clearest picture that I've got is this or euro pound.
Yeah, euro pound. Yeah, I mean the pound's another tricky one, isn't it? And again, it's a weird one with the euros. By the way, that trade has been a loser, so I apologise for that for you, Lewis, because and I think I've got a bit of a euro hangover. I don't think I made a particularly good judgment call there. But the thing now is to probably ignore these charts. I don't think I'm going to be in the right state of mind, and it's not because I'm kind of losing my head, but I feel very tired today after yesterday. So I think it's not going to be. Yeah, you're going to go to sleep, Lewis. I don't blame you. I think I'll probably as soon as we're done as well, because
I think that's a good idea for you blokes.
What's that?
I think that's a good idea for you blokes. Have a
it's
snooze.
one of those things, isn't it, that you kind of have to recognise that sometimes.
You do.
And the only benefit for me, well, not benefit, but this is the one thing that that where I don't use leverage, it really helps my trading, because when you don't use leverage, you've got risk. Risk really is kind of picking the wrong direction for the time. Didn't take the trade actually. Mind too slow to act. Good, mate. Okay, well I'm glad about that. Hopefully everybody's mind was either too slow to act, or you didn't understand it enough to take it. But yeah, it looks a little bit weak right now. And I've got to say, I'm looking at the information from the FTSE, and I'm still just a bit scrambled. I'm still like, I'm not really sure whether this is going to break down or not. And I usually get a much clearer view, and it could be the market, or it could be my sights are slightly out for the day, which I suspect is probably more accurate. So I'm still waiting for earnings season. I'm still waiting for what the driver is. I think the oil story is interesting. I think what happened with oil over the last week with OPEC is interesting, and we are seeing that hangover now really kind of come into the FTSE 100 and the market here. What that does to the commodity markets, I also think is interesting, where we start going into the CAD, where we start looking at the Kiwi, and maybe the Aussie.
All three have got news this week.
Yeah, they're the ones, aren't they? They're the ones
Yep.
and I wonder whether we should maybe try and focus on those ones more so. But it's going to be difficult and a little bit dangerous to try and focus on those before the events, because they're all probably quite significant things that will drive the currency in the future, rather than them being kind of coincidental indicators.
Well,
so
we're kind of doing okay, because I've got the Aussie dollar short. We're in that. We're free trading that. We've got Kiwi yen short. We're free trading that.
Yeah.
We've got Euro CAD short on the monthly, which I don't really count that.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I don't really count that because it's just a thing. So we really haven't got into the CAD yet as far as recency is concerned. I don't know that I need to, because I think between the other two, and pound Kiwi long, of course, if we can manage to get a boost out of the news on well, either or, it doesn't really matter. Both would be nice, and all three would be lovely. So I don't need to put myself into a position right now. I don't think, if it sets up, of course I would.
Almost hedged then, are you, mate? You've got a bit almost some hedged trades there by the sounds of it.
A little bit, not too heavily, but it's potentially going to be. It'll work out okay. We can only win, of course. It's just a matter of how much. So I really don't need to do too much in that regard, to be honest. I'd be disappointed if we don't get something out of the week because of that. But if you don't, you don't. Simple as that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done well out of all three. You know, Aussie's been a beauty for us. Euro yen's been a beauty for us. Kiwi yen was a good one for us last week as well. So yeah.
Yeah, Euro yen was one of my favoured ones when we started talking about things, and I suppose this is the difficulty this week. And I've got to be honest, mate. Even before the Euros, I did look at the information over the weekend and just think, okay, there's a real lack of clarity. The Euro yen was one of the most obvious trades that I'd seen in a long time, and gold, even gold last week sort of like had an air of kind of confidence about it when we were sort of like looking to trade that one long.
Well, that's still there, you know. The only thing we did, well, I didn't do anything wrong, and we spoke about it before, but you know, we'd still be in that trade if we didn't take profit, or if we didn't move our stops. And you know, to be fair, that could still go. Who's to say it won't?
Yeah, I agree, mate. Yeah,
it is after all a right shoulder that we spoke about. It's a higher low off a double bottom. It's all those sorts of things. The only thing stopping this, to my mind, at the moment is the confluence area that we're at. Technically, of course, there's a whole lot of other fundamental shit going on, but you've got the monthly pivot and that trend line.
Yeah, I agree. And
once they're gone,
I think the gold bulls will be fairly comfortable at this particular stage. Are we above that monthly pivot now?
No.
No, okay. So that's that. Yeah, as you say, there's a confluence there, isn't there? But I think the gold bulls would be feeling okay. Do you know the one issue that I've got with gold isn't gold, it's silver. You know, I wanted to see both commodities, both precious metals start to show some signs of positivity, just so we know that that maybe the same aspect in the market is driving, is the driver. Gold at this stage looks a lot better
Yeah,
than
look,
silver.
technically silver is a sell. I mean, it's actually a really good chart. Silver. It's telling me very much so that you want to be on the short side of that.
Yeah.
And that's coming from the monthly and weekly charts. You
Yeah.
know, that big rabbit is there, or big double top, call it whatever you want to call it, has been followed up by a lower high.
Yeah.
And
this is the only this is the thing, mate. I mean, this is my trade. Therefore, I'd feel a lot more comfortable about going gold long, silver short on a percentage term basis. Silver can be really volatile. Is the problem with that? So if you get it wrong,
I know. Remember, I traded it once, and it caned me to hell because I had no idea what I was doing. I thought I was risking a couple $100, and it finished up being a lot more.
Yeah.
Ouch.
It is. Yeah, it can be a bit painful. So you really do need to kind of go into that with a very defined kind of strategy and make sure that you know your levels if you're going to trade.
Of course, yes, and I need schooling on that if I'm to trade it. But there's also this, which is pretty clear also. So we need that to break to get a directional bias. Really, we're ranging in here at the moment.
Yeah, and we're in a buy zone.
At the moment, we are. Yeah.
Yeah, very difficult, mate. Well, I think the upshot really is, maybe right now it's better to be on the sidelines and wait and see if we can get some clarity. Because
I'm prepared to go with the week on dollar Swissy, but I need to see a lower high first.
Yeah.
And I don't need to see anything on euro dollar. So if the fundamentals support euro dollar, then I'd be happy to make that the trade of the week.
Okay.
If they don't,
well, the fundamentals may after. I just want to read up about Christine Lagarde, and I'll come back with you tomorrow and let you know what I did find out from that, because I've got a feeling there is some supportive language from her. So I will let you know tomorrow. At this stage, it would probably be the dollar Swissy because of what we saw with the COTS report.
Yep. Okay.
But it's not really enough to go on. We don't really have that fundamental addition, which I'd much prefer. I'd much prefer to start with the fundamentals. So I will come back with you on that tomorrow and see if there is anything for the euro dollar.
Okay, well, we'll put it on hold. That's not a problem.
Okay,
fact, that's too easy.
Well, I'm kind of ready to wrap, mate. I know it's a bit earlier than normal, but I am ready to wrap.
You're ready to go to sleep, and I
don't
blame you.
And I'm ready to make a judgment call. I've got to have a really good look at these markets as well, because I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that we are breaking down, but I've got to make sure that I'm not just entering trades for no reason. So I've got a bit of work to do, and then I do need to go to sleep. Well, maybe I should do it the other way around. Actually, that's probably be wise.
All right. No, look, I've got no problem with that. I'm not going to do anything new just yet. I do like the euro long.
Oh, good. Okay.
I do like the euro, but I can't just enter here. I'm okay on the weekly, but I can't enter here on a shorter time frame. If that were to break this where we are now, pretty much last week's weekly pivot, and we got a retest or higher low again, I think there's probably a trade there on the smaller time frames. And if you can actually get in, I think it'd be a cracker of a trade, because you can take it all the way up to where I've got my first take profit on the weekly. I think it'd be a beauty. You could play it. You could play it as a break and retest of maybe this line. That might work. Break, retest, go.
Yeah.
I obviously prefer it the other way always, but I don't know that you're going to get that opportunity anytime soon. The other way would be that's too sharp for me. I wouldn't trade it. But if it came back down to here, this would be a better trade in many, many
Yeah,
regards.
I like the weekly pivot.
Down to here, put in a higher low based on this one, then get above the pivots, retest them, and that confluence area should give you enough support to drive it long. I would be definitely interested in that if it does set up.
Yeah. I wouldn't come out of your position, Lewis. I think you might be able to utilize it for a maybe short long setup.
Totally. Yeah, totally.
Might get something like that.
And
okay, mate. Well, let's wrap it up. I think
right.
we got a vague idea, and I think we'll get some more clarity after tomorrow. Lewis is saying that it was 3 a.m. in Sing for the game, which I do feel for you, mate. That is a lot worse. Yeah, and it was an emotional roller coaster. I don't really know why I bothered trading today at all, because I am not feeling it. But anyway, we'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully we'll clear. I don't think it'll take me too long to get over it. I was absolutely gutted by the end of it. I really do feel for the players and the manager. I think they gave everything, and to get that close. And I supporting Tottenham, I'm kind of used to getting this close and then just falling at the last hurdle. And it's kind of getting to the point where you kind of start thinking, actually, these opportunities, they don't come along very often. And if you don't take them, they'll stay with you for the rest of your life, and that's where I think it hurts. And I'm not hurting for myself, really. I'm just I'm seeing sort of like, what people have been through to get to a point where they could touch success and see it, but just something stopped them getting over the line, and what that must do to you psychologically must be tough. It's got to be tough.
Ooh.
They all get paid a stack of cash to play. Don't feel too bad of them. That is true, John. That is true. And if life was all about money, I think I don't think I would feel too bad. But we know it's not. And I think, though, anybody, it wouldn't matter who you are, getting paid a whole bunch of money. If you were climbing Everest and someone said, regardless of what happens, I'll make sure that you get paid, and you're going to get paid well. You're going to get $5 million by the end of the climb, and you get near the top, and then all of a sudden something happens. I don't know, you break a foot or something, and you have to stop the whole thing, and you don't quite make it to the top. That's going to hurt, regardless of the cash, because these guys they're not lottery winners. They are ultimately, they are people that are trying to achieve something. Even though I agree with what you're saying, there is sort of like something more to it as well.
Yeah, don't start me on professional sport. Don't start me on professional sport. We better leave it there.
Okay, mate. All right.
Look,
all right.
We were going to have a chat after the show, but how's tomorrow for you?
Oh, mate, I'm good today.
Are you right? Okay.
Yeah. I might keep my mind off this. So, yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, I'll see you in a tick.
Okay.
And everyone else, sleep well, Lewis and Alls. Did you really think they would win a Pinos? Oh, no. Who knows? They've got to stop that. I mean, I don't know any player on the planet who agrees with penalty shootouts.
With who?
With Pinos.
What's that? Kinos? What's that?
No, it's penalty shootouts, I think.
Oh, okay. Do I really think they went on? Do you know, mate? I did. I really did. I thought they were going to win it. And do you know why I thought they'd win it? Is because Southgate missed the penalty in '96 that took them out. And I thought, if anybody's going to be prepared for penalties, it would be Southgate. But how wrong I was. I think they obviously didn't prepare. And I think he chose all the wrong penalty takers. That was the only mistake Southgate made in the whole 2 weeks, was what he did towards the end of the game. And it was so sad to see, and so sad to think that now he's got that rest on his shoulders. Somebody's got to take it, and maybe it's better that it's him than anybody else. But I thought they were going to win. I said to my buddies, we were on house party, and I was like, I fancy them in a penalty shootout. And Pickford was brilliant. I mean, to be fair, the Italians weren't much better than we were. We missed 3, they missed 2. It was, it was a pretty poor showing for penalties. So I thought we were going to do it. I shook my head when Saka stepped up as well. I mean, You could pick a whole bunch of other people it should have been. Yeah, but I agree with that too, John. They did park the bus a bit, and they didn't have an outball. And another mistake maybe Southgate made is not bringing on those subs early enough. I thought a bit of pace up front to scare them a bit would have been wise. Don't know why Rashford was taking a penalty. He's not played the whole tournament, so he must be cold, even though he was a bit unlucky. Anyway, I digress, and I don't want to get into this. I don't think they will be back. That's the problem. I thought this was their opportunity. It's
post-mortems. They don't solve a thing, do they?
No, they don't, unfortunately. No, they don't.
All right, get out of here, you guys.
Yeah, let's get out of here. Yeah, all right. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Same trade time, same trade channel. I'll see you in a bit, Jeff.
Okay, mate. Thanks all for being up on this Monday after the long night that some of you had, and we'll catch you tomorrow at the very same time, I am sure. So bye-bye for now.